Why do I have so many emails? Voicemail? What?
What? Why? What? You can't fire someone over text. What?
Michael doesn't know it yet, but he's about to have the worst day of his life. I've gotten access to his personal email, his work accounts, and I'm about to get access to his entire company. This is going to be one day that he never gets. On this episode of Hack 5, we're going to be talking about cybercrime, how it happens, and how it could happen to you. So, check it out. Sorry, loser. This is coming with me.
Why doesn't my email work?
A data dump is when hackers gain access to a website and steal credentials of users, posting them online and making it easy for people who want access to usernames and passwords to get them. Data dumps are frequently put up for sale on the dark web and other sketchy websites, where cybercriminals can take money and simply buy lists of user credentials of people who had their accounts breached. This makes it easy to go after their other accounts, especially if they reuse passwords like their dog's name and some random number. Now, this data dump didn't give me Michael's exact credentials for his work email, which is what I'm really interested in. Michael's personal life is great, but I'm really interested in his big money bag's boss. And unfortunately, he's used the same credentials in his personal email that he used to sign up for his Lord of the Rings fan fiction. So that's gonna allow me to get in and take the first step. Now, even though Michael wasn't dumb enough to use the same password on his personal and work email, he did set up his work email so that it resets back to his personal one. So now I can just reset his work email, click on the confirmation link, and boom, I'm in. Now, of course, Michael could have prevented this by making sure to turn on two-factor authentication, so I would have had to go through some extra step and maybe compromise his phone too. But thankfully, he didn't do that, and thank you so much, Michael, because now I have access to all of your work information and your work contacts as well. Thanks to all the juicy information I was able to dig up in Michael's work email, I put together this custom invoice that, when opened by his coworkers, will launch a macro that creates a backdoor, allowing me to do pretty much whatever I want to their computers. And now that they've opened this, I should be able to start sifting around in much more important people's computers, looking for ways of getting into the system or even just deploying something more destructive. Now, that means that all these computers basically belong to me. Now, there's not that much I can do with access to these low-level employees' accounts, but somebody higher up does trust them. I can use these initial accounts to gain access to even more important people's accounts, and not only steal confidential information, but potentially find an employee that has access to the entire network, which puts me in control. Oh, and unlucky for him, Michael's boss just downloaded my attachment. That means I now have direct access to confidential information only top CEOs would have access to, and I also have the ability to take complete control of the entire network. Now that I'm a network administrator on this network, I have access to absolutely everything. I can go through all the confidential files and see if there's anything worth rifling through, see if maybe there's anything I could steal, but of course, if this isn't enough, I can also use my position on the network to just spy on users, see what they're doing, maybe see if they're connected to any accounts that are even better than what I already have access to. And if they do have access, I can pop up a phishing page and gain access to those too. Now, what if I decide that this stuff is so juicy that it's really going to be worth a lot of money to someone, but maybe it's not worth a lot of money to me? Well, I can just decide that these files, these confidential, sweet, interesting files are mine and mine alone until someone gives me enough Dogecoin to let them go. All because Michael was too lazy to make a new password. Ransomware is a program that hunts for interesting files on the network, and when it finds them, locks them down so the people who need them don't have access. Now, for something like a school or a hospital or a police department, this could be a big problem, and unfortunately for Michael's work, they no longer know who works for them. Now, if they want all their employee records back, they're going to have to pay big. In fact, I'm not going to let these puppies go for anything less than 69,420 Dogecoin. And that is a good deal.
Yeah, I'm still here. Thanks. Yeah, thanks for putting me on hold for the last 40 minutes. Now, are you able to tell me what's going on? What's the problem? I can't get into my files. I can't get into anything. And do you know what a Dogecoin is? Where the heck is Michael?
All right, I think that I am just about done here because this company is ruined and Michael's being held responsible. I'm gonna get away scot-free, whereas Michael's boss thinks that he's the one responsible for encrypting the entire company's network. Now, if Michael's learned anything here, it's that he shouldn't sell me a water-damaged Tamagotchi on eBay. But let's go through what I did here and find out why Michael's had such a bad day. First, I started looking for information in data dumps that would allow me to access one of Michael's accounts, and fortunately was able to find a password that he reused in his personal email. Second, I was able to gain access to his personal email and use the fact that he had set up other accounts with it to reset those accounts back to his email and just click the link to generate my own password for these accounts, including his work email. Third, I was able to basically join his work email and get all the privileges that Michael has at work. I was able to go through files and start sending information to his coworkers, which caused them to download and open a malicious document. Fourth, I was able to start sending this information to even higher level members of the company, eventually getting someone with full network access to execute my malware. That's when I was able to execute my final stage, the fifth stage, where I was able to ransomware the entire network and make sure that the company wasn't able to access any of the files that it needs on a daily basis. Now, what could Michael have done in order to prevent all of this mayhem?
So today was a pretty horrible day for me. I got hacked, and not only that, because of me, my entire company got hacked and taken down. And it's all because I made some pretty basic mistakes. But fortunately, those are pretty easy to fix. So let's go over some of the things I could have done differently. The first and most important would definitely be using different passwords. So the mistake I made is I used the same password on all the different websites. And while that's more convenient sometimes, it's really insecure. So something I could do going forward is use a password manager like LastPass or OnePass. Now, for me, it's just as convenient. I really only have to remember the one password to the password manager. But then the password manager is going to be able to create a long, unique password for each individual website and go ahead and remember that for me. Now, the next thing to remember is don't click on suspicious links. And when you get weird emails, stop and think for a second. Is that someone you recognize? Why would I be getting an invoice from this person? Is that really something I should be clicking on? And if you do download it, just pause and think about what you're doing. Do you need to enable macros? Probably not. If there's anything weird or suspicious at all, be sure to go ahead and Google it and see, is that something that's used for hacking or is this like a legit feature? And third, updates are a pain. I know I'm just like y'all, I procrastinate all the time. I rarely do updates, but that really came back to bite me in this case. So as soon as you have an update, go ahead and go with it. And also just be sure to restart your computer on a regular basis and check for updates. It's a little thing, but it can really help. If you really want to go crazy, you could even go with a full custom Linux OS and make sure it's updated on a daily basis. Now, lastly, if you really want to go hardcore, of course you could just move out in the woods, give up technology, become a full mountain man, go cut down a tree, build a fire, cook your own meat, and build your own civilization. However, that's maybe not feasible for everyone. So that's a look at how cybercrime works and how to defend against it. It's pretty basic. Just use a password manager, apply security updates as soon as they're available, and lastly, don't click on stupid links. Those 3 simple things can pretty much prevent this horrible day I had from happening to you.
Thanks for supporting Hack5. Find all our shows, community, and pen test products at hack5.org.